Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. During the declared emergency, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. My name is Isaac Lolos, and I'll be chairing the hearing. Panel members participating today via WebEx and can be seen and heard are Ms. Sankar, Ms. Satarodi, Mr. Bartolo, and Mr. Klassen. City staff are assisting us throughout the meeting, including moderating WebEx platform. Participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentation to the committee using the said WebEx. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. These participants will be connecting either by the telephone, computer, tablet app, and all participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only committee members will be participating by video. Any registered speaker will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you're called on to speak. For all those waiting online to speak, please make sure you call with the telephone number you originally registered with. Calling with a different number, you will not be able to speak on the item. And we also ask that you please do not use your speaker phone function on your telephone. For a land acknowledgement, we acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 of the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provision of the zoning that applies to property, permission to extend or alter legal non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email only. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances, to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, known as LPAT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee, and the committee may ask questions and take the matter directly for decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee, and I will comment when the 5-minute marks are reached. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make their presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposal at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised, to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to receive a notice are informed of the changes. Then individuals, either in support or in opposition to the application, will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant has the chance to address only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will be taken to committee for a decision. Now, I don't believe there is any deferral requests. Do you know of any, Mr. Moderator or Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer? I don't have any request for a deferral.
Mr. Chairman, I believe item 32 needs to be deferred.
Okay.
As notice was sent to the wrong properties.
Okay, number 32. Okay.
I concur. Item 32 needs to be deferred.
32, huh? 32?
Yes.
Okay, item,
So
first, I'd like to ask for this afternoon session, staff and members, any conflict of interest to declare? Yeah, Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, on item 31,
31, yeah.
if those properties are developed as proposed, they may be visible from my home.
Okay, so you'll be recusing yourself, huh? Okay.
I will be. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Klassen, thank you. Okay, so number 32, which is 3 AVONHILL Court. We have here 32. We have Mr. Sean Tusi. Are you there? 32, yeah. Yeah. No, he said Sean Tusi. That's item 32, which is 3 Avondale Court. Yeah, that's what we have here. Sean Tusi. Item 32.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, you're there.
I'm here.
Thank you. Can you please state your name and address for the
Yes,
record?
Mr. Chair.
Can you please repeat your name and address for the
Sean
record?
Tusi, I'm principal. Sure. Sean Tusi, I'm principal architect at Memoir Architects, Inc. The address is 2323 Youngest Street, Unit 503, Toronto.
Thank you.
Mary, Fort Peter, 2 Charlie 9 is the postal code, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Now, could you please tell us the reason you would defer this application? There is a request for deferral. Could you tell us the reason?
Oh, we do not want to defer the application, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry.
We're
Mr.
not
Chairman,
deferring the application, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, it's not the applicant who's asking for the deferral. Staff are asking for the deferral
Oh, the staff.
as there was a computer glitch. There was a computer glitch and
Okay.
notices was sent to the wrong properties.
Thank you. Okay, the staff is requesting deferral because of the application that was sent to the wrong people. So, do you have any comments before we move on?
I to be honest, I don't know what I can say, Mr. Chair. We, like, due to COVID, there is a huge backlog on committee, and my client has been paying mortgage in this house. And is there any way? I'm not sure if it is even now legally possible to hear this today. We would prefer to hear it today if there is any legal way of hearing it.
Yeah, I understand.
So
Mr.
that's
Chairman.
my comment.
Mr. Chair and members.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
there's no way of hearing the application as
Yeah,
proper
yeah.
notice was not given.
Exactly.
But we're going to put the application on the first available hearing.
Yes.
Mr. Chair and members, I can confirm the file has already been scheduled. If the deferral is granted, the file will be scheduled for April 1st.
So he's not even listed in your list, huh? Okay. Well, we have conflicting. Sir, first of all, to answer the first question, if there is a problem with the circulation, there is no way we can address it today. So it has to be deferred. And when there is a deferral, you work with the staff and for the next available date. Now I hear there is another problem. What is it, Mr. Moderator?
Oh, no problem. If the deferral is granted, we will be scheduling the file for April 1st.
Okay, all right, it'll be set for April. Okay, Mr.
We're good with that, Mr. Chair. We're good with that, Mr. Chair.
You're okay, perfect, thank you. Now we have one more person registered here. We have to hear them, and that's Andrew. Oh, Andrew. Oh, can you please tell us whether you're there? Andrew. Oh.
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay. Could you please
Yes.
tell us your name and address?
Okay. My name is Andrew Au. I'm the owner of 5 AVONHILL Court, who's a neighbor of the property in question.
Perfect. Okay. So there is a problem with the application. We have to defer it. Do you have any problem with that?
No.
Well,
Okay.
deferring, I'm sorry, this is Mrs. Au, also owner at 5 AVONHILL Court. We are directly north neighbor to 3 AVONHILL Court. And I'm not familiar with the process, but we have 2 concerns with the design of the house.
Yeah, excuse me. When we defer the application, we do not discuss it today. So
Oh, I see, understand.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so we'll have a next
When-
round.
when the application comes up again for hearing, then you'll be notified and you can come up and brave your concern, okay?
Understand, thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go back to the agent. We have to defer it and see what the staff do. I mean, the members, do you have any question? The file was circulated to the wrong people, and we can't address it today. Can I have a motion then to defer? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Given the circumstances of this application, I will motion to defer this application to the April 1st hearing date, as was described by staff and
Thank
for
you.
proper circulation.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Tarodi, all in favor? Okay, so sir, your application is deferred, and it looks like April 1st is available. So we're sorry about the mix-up, and we'll see you on April 1st.
That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine, Mr. Chair. What I have is just to clarify, do we need to take any action for the April 1st, or it's going to automatically move
Mr.
there? We don't need
Tutsi,
to do
please reach out to your application
Can we just have a
technician.
clarification?
Mr. Tutsi, please reach out to your application technician about any questions for recirculation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so there is no other files to close or anything, Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer? There are no files to close.
No, there isn't.
Okay, thank you. Item number 20, which is 41 YEWFIELD Crescent. The agent here is Jonathan Benchkowski. Are you there, Mr. Benchkowski?
I'm here, sir.
Thank you. Could you please state your name and address?
Jonathan Bitskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue, Toronto, Ontario, M4P2A4.
Thank you. We have here, this is to build the front, rear, and second floor additions. We have 5 letters of objection, and the staff report agreed, as agreed by the applicant, there's a number of changes and the condition and the forestry condition, plus the councillor is requesting or asking to encouraging the planning and you to modify the front yard setback. So can you please address those, because we have one more resident here, so we need a presentation from you. So we'll have 5 minutes. Give us your presentation as to the merit of the application and cover those changes you want to make.
Yes, Adam, if we could go to the submitted material I put in yesterday, that's it there. So what you have in front of you now is a revised list of variances. This revised list of variances is reflective of the conversations with planning that has increased the front yard setback,
Yes.
and in turn has also reduced the lot coverage that is proposed before you today. So in terms of the planning report, this is as per what is requested by planning. And if you were to deem it to be meritorious today, I would ask that you do tie the decision to these plans that were received by the CAV on March 10th. Now, Adam, if we could go down one page too, please. The changes that have been made were the resulting of the first, sorry, keep going to the site plan, Adam. I think it's 2. Please, and then zoom in at the front. So the request that is for the front yard setback is only in relation to the garage. The upper floors of the development proposed are in keeping with the zoning bylaw. So that reduction at the revised 9.22 meters is only for the front garage projection. Now, a couple of things that are important with the street contextually is this is on a portion of YEWFIELD that starts to curve. So as you see on the bottom of the screen there, you'll see the lot line starts to move away from you. So that lessens the impact of a projection that comes out forward because the street is already naturally moving away from you. In addition, there are no landscape variances for that front portion. And if we could go down one more, part of the reason for having the projection of the front main wall of the garage only, again, the upper floors are in keeping with the zoning bylaw of 9.92, is related to a load-bearing wall in the basement, that if this dwelling were to be pushed back any further as it relates to the garage, there is a load-bearing wall that would have to move that would be very expensive to move, which would change the whole entire structure for the property. In terms of the other variances that are before you today, the side yard setbacks are what exists today. The proposed addition is in line with the side walls. So the built form of what you would see from YEWFIELD today will remain unchanged. It is exactly as what you would see in terms of those 2 front yard setbacks. Lastly, the proposed dwelling itself is a modest 13.25 meters in building length. That is well below the zoning bylaw requirement of 17 meters. So in my opinion, this is an appropriate proposal for this property, given especially that the front projection is only for the garage, with the upper floors of the dwelling built as per the zoning bylaw. And lastly, the rest of the dwelling, as we're on the screen here where we see it says nanny's room, that is all as per the zoning bylaw. The only projection request for the front yard setback is for the garage portion that faces the street. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Okay, just to wrap it up, you have the only changes you made are variance number.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, can you please have the applicant read the changes for the record?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
We need him to state it, not the chair or the members. The applicant must state the changes.
I think he did.
So
yeah, he did.
Mr. Chair, not officially. He just showed the
Okay,
changes
could
on
you
the screen.
please repeat your changes that you want to make officially?
Yes, so to variance request number 3, we would like to increase the minimum front yard setback from what was originally proposed at 8.92 meters to 9.22 meters. The second request change would be to reduce the lot coverage from 31.2% to 29.94%.
Okay. Okay, so that's the only changes you make, right?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So we have one more speaker here. And I believe that request, that change is in line with what the councillor was asking for, the front yard setback.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, as well as the planning department.
Yes, okay. All right, so what we have here, we have Seljan Tumor. Seljan Tumor?
Yes.
Yeah, could you please state your name and your address?
Yes, Seljan Tumor, and I live at 42 YEWFIELD Crescent,
Okay,
directly across from the proposed property.
thank you. You heard the changes the applicant made. Do you still have any concern?
Yes, my main concern is with the proposed height of the building, especially since what's stated in the public hearing notice of the proposed height being 9.17 meters. When I look at the application and the plan, the measurements are 9.95 meters.
Are you finished?
Yes, so I'm wondering why the notice has the different height than what is actually in the application and in the plan for this plot, for this property.
Okay, well, I'll have the agent respond to that question is better. And
Okay, so this letter went out to all the residents, and it has basically false information about the proposed height of the property. So I don't understand that.
okay, all right, okay. The applicant will come back and will respond to this discrepancy. In the meantime, any question for the speaker? Okay, so we don't have any more speaker here. And the agent, could you please come back and address the concern of the speaker now?
Yes, that concern is related to the two different zoning bylaws that the property is subject to. So the old North York 7625 only allows an 8.8 meter height. That 8.8 meter height is actually taken from the center line of YEWFIELD. It's a very antiquated way of looking at height, but that's neither here nor there right now. So the actual new consolidated 569/2013 zoning bylaw allows a 10 meter height. So we are below the 10 meter height. And the other issue is they're both interpreted separately, whereas 569/2013 is the average at the front yard setback, whereas the old North York 7625 is taken from the crown of the road. So that's why we often see, as you're well aware, requests under the old zoning bylaw for North York, because naturally the crown of the road is lower than a grade of a dwelling. Otherwise, you would have complete drainage going into a house. So in terms of the 569/2013 zoning bylaw requirement of 10 meters, we are below that, and that is not a request that is before you today. So that's why there's often confusion between the two heights, one from the old and one from the new.
Okay, thank you. Any question for this speaker? The agent, no? Okay. If not, can I have a motion with those conditions and the changes that the agent made? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I accept the explanations provided by the applicant here today, and I do believe it's appropriate with the changes that he's made. So I will motion to approve this application subject to the March 3rd, 2021 staff report, in which he has made the changes that variance number 3 has been changed to 9.22 meters, and he has reduced variance number 4 to 29.94%, that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the front yard setbacks as shown on the site plan drawing and subject to forestry.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen, second. All in favor? Okay, sir, your application is unanimously approved based on the changes you made and based on the staff condition. Okay, and forestry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Application 21, which is 19 WOODCLIFF Place. We have here Ali Malikzadeh. Ali Malikzadeh, are you there? Okay.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi.
My name is Ali Malikzadeh.
Yeah. The address, your address?
It's 236 Les Mills Road in Toronto.
Okay, thank you. Just a second to find out, is this Sean is here? He's there. Okay, we have one more speaker here. So could you please make a short presentation for 5 minutes? And we have here, yeah. Okay, so this is straight, and there is, and you can address the councillors asking refuse number 2. Here's number 2. Okay. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, this application was requested by Planning Department and planner to be deferred at this hearing. because we are missing two variances regarding to the TRCA. And so those has to be added. So I am requesting for deferring this application.
Okay, so you're asking for deferral, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, just for me to understand, the staff on March 3 asked for deferral due to the variances requested by the TRCA. And the TRCA the next day sent the report, said no objection, just a requirement permit, just the required permit. Did you see that?
Yes, I understand about that,
Okay.
but unfortunately, the zoning examiner didn't include the two variances
Okay.
to the existing condition of the property of TRCA.
Okay.
So if any decision of this hearing been made is going to be impacted by those two variances. So
Thank you.
I have to defer this.
Okay, so the request is to add the missing variances. So we have one more speaker here. We're going to listen to them and we'll come back to you. Sean McKeown, are you there?
I am, yes. Hello.
Okay, so could you please first state your name and your address?
My name is Sean McKeown. I live at 21 Woodcliff Place.
Thank you. Now, you heard this application will be, is asking for deferral due to some missing variances. So you note that, did you have any problem with that?
Well, I have booked today off for this hearing. It's unfortunate if I have to do that again in a future date.
Yeah, we understand that. So you'll be.
Is it worthwhile stating objections, or is it best for me to just?
We won't anything that's deferred is not discussed today because we don't know what the change is going to be, what kind of variances are going to be in the next application. So you'll be notified on time, and hopefully you can make it again.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, staff, any question to this gentleman before the Mr. Klassen? Yeah? No? Okay. So can I have a motion? There is a deferral request. Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to put forward a motion to defer the sine die to allow the applicant to get the additional comments from TRCA on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is deferred sine die as you requested, okay?
Thank you so much.
Item number 22, which is 275 Pleasant Avenue. And here we have, what's this background? Feedback, huh? Okay. And Shenshu Jiang, are you there?
Hi. Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Hi, could you see your name and your address, please?
Yeah, my name is Shenshu Zhang, architect, 98 Scarsdale Road, North York.
Okay, so we have here for a new dwelling, and we have the councillor is opposing coverage 32%. I know you changed it, so tell us what you want to do, because we have another person listed here to speak. So we have to hear you, and then we'll call them.
Yeah, we like to reduce the proposed lot coverage to 32%.
So you are changing the coverage to 32%?
Yes.
Okay, next.
No other changes.
That's it. So that's all you want to say?
Yes.
Okay. So let's call the other speaker, and then we'll come back to you. Vincezina Tran, are you there?
Mr. Chair, it appears that the neighbor is not present on the call.
She's not in. Okay. So we have just the speaker here, the agent, and actually he made this presentation. Any questions Are you confirming you're changing the coverage from 32.4 to 32%, right? 32.4
Yes.
to 32%,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
To 32%. Okay. So he's changing the coverage to 32%. Any question to him or motion? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to approve this application subject to variance 3 changing to 32%. I do think that the variances are minor in nature. Thank you.
Thank you. A second? Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay. Your application, sir, is approved, subject to the change you made to 32% coverage, okay?
Right.
Application number 23, which is 315 Patricia Avenue. And the agent here is the only one here is Zing Tong. Are you there? Mr. Zing Tong?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, Miss, sorry. Could you please state your name and address?
Yeah, my name is Xin Tong, and address is 2
Can you
Jarvis
please
Avenue
can you
in
please speak
Aurora.
up? We don't hear you. Could you please speak up?
Oh, my name is Xin Tong, and address is 2 Jarvis Avenue in Aurora.
Thank you. Yeah, now we hear you good. Okay, we have here new dwelling, 6 variances, staff reports, just a condition, and 2 letters of support. Members, do we need a presentation? No? Okay. We don't need a presentation, but do you want to add something before we go to the members to make a decision?
No.
No?
Like, I can answer any question if they have.
Very good. Thank you. Any question you have or motion, please? Okay, I have two. They come. There is some delay, and all of them come together. I think Mr. Klassen was first. Mr. Klassen, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll move to approve this application. The requested variance as they're minor, and I'll make it subject to the staff recommendation that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawings submitted to the committee as attachments 1 and 2 on March 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. So, to approve subject to the condition. And second, please. Ms. Sankar, second. All in favor? Okay. Your application is approved, subject to the condition of the staff to develop in the condition of east and west elevation drawings. Okay?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. Application number 24, which is 184 Glenview Avenue. We have just one speaker, Mr. Glenn Robinoff. Mr. Robinoff, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon.
Okay, just please state your name and address.
My name is Glenn Rubinoff from Rubinoff Design Group, 18 Gloucester Lane, Toronto.
Thank you. We have here, okay, new 2-story additions, staff reports, just a condition, TRCA, no objection, permit not required, transportation report, no objection, just some markings on the site plan, and forestry condition 1. So we don't have any other speaker, just the agent. Would you would you like a presentation or we move on to the questions and motion? No presentation? Okay, Mr. Robinoff, we don't need the presentation. Do you still want to say something before we move on? Before we move to the
I would just like to say that it's a lovely day outside, and hopefully the hearings will clear up soon, and you'll all be enjoying the weather. Nothing in regards to this. We are fine with the staff condition as presented.
Is the weather part of the application?
No.
Okay, all right. So, any questions or motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, thank you for the kind sentiments, Mr. Rubinoff. We will be sure to adhere to that condition. So I'll put forward a motion I think it has been 4 tests, and so I'll put forward a motion to approve this application. I'll make it subject to the February 22nd staff report that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the west and east side elevation drawings submitted to the committee. I'll also make it subject to the transportation conditions as well as forestry. That's my motion.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Klassen. All in favor? Okay, Mr. Robinoff, your application is approved, subject to those conditions, and it looks like you made a good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay. 25, application 25, which is 209 Betty Ann Drive. And here we have a Homeland.
Mr. Chair, our attendees list indicates the company name Homeland, but the agent responsible for the file is
Alex.
Hamid Bashit.
Oh, Hamid.
And they are ready. They're on the call.
Hamid what?
Bashit, B-E-H-E-S-H-T.
And Alex Kursi is online?
Alex is present as well, yes.
Also present. Okay. Mr. Hamid, can you please state your name and address?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. This is Arjang Behesh from Homeland. I'm the spokesperson for the applicant at 49 YEWFIELD Crescent.
Very good. Okay. So we have one more speaker here. Therefore, we need a short presentation. We give you usually the 5 minutes and tell us the merit of your application, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon to the committee members and to committee staff. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to announce some changes to the application. If I could please totally remove variances number 2, 7, 8, and 9, and please change variance number 3 from 8 meters to 8.17 meters. And 4 out of the 5 changes were recommended to us by planning staff, and we would like to fully comply with those suggestions. Now, if I could please ask committee staff to again kindly display slide number 1 of the presentation package. And minor variance number 1 speaks to the side yard setback, which has been encroached upon at the garage portion of the home only, and only at the lower level, which we can see here highlighted by the small stripe in red. Even at the lower level, the house jots back to the required 1.8 meter side yard, and the first and second floors of that side all stay at the required 1.8 meter mark. And more so, the entirety of the other side of the home at the east maintains the required 1.8 meter side yard through its entirety. Next, variance number 3 speaks to the front yard setback. Now, about half a century ago, when planners and a subdivision building company placed these homes on their lots, we believe they made a slight mistake by placing the homes too far back, because for a 135-foot deep, relatively normal-sized lot, a 9-meter front yard setback is, we believe, too much. Now, half a century later, we're trying to remedy this issue with a more thoughtful approach, which creates a larger backyard while reducing the visibility of our side walls from our adjacent neighbors' backyards. And if I could please see slide number 2, we can see the provision of the zoning bylaw regarding front yard setbacks, which reads, if regulation 10.5.40.71 does not apply, the required minimum front yard setback in the RD zone is 6 meters. Given these points, we believe that our now revised front yard setback of 8.17 meters is completely appropriate for the proposal. If I can now please see slide number 3, The green stripe we see at the bottom of the front elevation is the difference in grade from the crown of road to the established grade that has contributed slightly to the increased height within the old bylaw only, which measures the building height from the crown of road. Conversely, the building height under the new bylaw, which we have abided by, measures the height from the established grade where the building actually begins. And if I can point again to the side yard variance, the area highlighted in pink, the previous slide, thank you very much, sorry about that. The area highlighted in pink in this front elevation is the section of the garage, which is the only part of the home that is encroached onto the side yard setback. The rest of the levels above draw back to 1.8 meters. The element you see above that portion of the garage is a chimney breast, which is projected 2 feet, is only 6 feet wide, and is there as of right. Next, if I could please see slide number 4, we can see the increased sidewall height, which has only occurred at one side and only at the area highlighted in pink to allow for the second floor bedroom to receive natural light. The rest of the side walls are under the limit of the bylaw at 7.4 meters high. Next, if I could please see slide number 5, we can see the increase in height of the one-story extension, and that's been done so that the ceiling height of the breakfast area matches the height of the rest of the first floor of the home. And you can see from the portion highlighted in pink, this is a very minor increase. And because the one-story extension is right in the middle of the home, it has no effects on shadows or privacy for the adjacent neighbors. And finally, if I could please see slide number 8, regarding the lot coverage, we found, I'm sorry, slide number 6, my apologies. We found 36 developments of similar sizes within a 500-meter radius of our proposal approved at the Committee of Adjustment for an average lot coverage of 31.92%, and 26 of those developments have an approved lot coverage of exactly 32%. A lot coverage of up to 32% is extremely common for development in the neighborhood, and our proposal of 31.88% is in line with these developments. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay, you prepared your speech very well and you went a little bit too fast. Could you tell me which ones you're removing? You said remove.
Sure. Yes, Mr.
And
Chair, I apologize for
go
the speed.
slowly, please. Go slowly. You want
I will go slowly. So we are removing variances number 2.
Yes.
Variance number 7.
Yes.
Variance number 8.
Yes.
And variance number 9.
Okay.
And we are revising variance number 3.
Yes.
From 8 meters to now 8.17 meters.
Perfect. That's it. Those are the
Thank you, Mr.
changes
Chair.
you make. Okay. All right. So we'll bring you back after we hear the other speaker. And if there's any questions from the members, you'll hear it after. So we have here Alex Quresh. Alex Quresh, are you there?
Yes, good morning. Good
Okay.
afternoon. Sorry, good afternoon.
Good
Yes,
afternoon.
Mr.
Oh,
Chairman.
yeah. Well, could you please tell us your name and your address for the records here?
My name is Alex Kuresh, and I'm at 190 Parkham Avenue, which is immediately south of the proposed property.
Thank you. So you heard the changes made by the applicant. Tell us if you still have any concern.
Yes, I do.
Please go ahead.
The problem is, Mr. Chairman, the problem is in my situation is not only me, it's all of the property in south side of these proposed property, which is south of Betty Ann Avenue. We are 1.2 meters, if this gentleman understand me, we're 1.2 meters at the property line below his property line. So right at the building, if you look at the contour line, I am 2.2 to 2.5 meters below. My property is below his property. He is putting a deck and he's putting a second floor, another balcony there. So basically, I have to shut down my backyard. He is proposing 1.2 meters. His deck is above ground. With my property being 1.2 meters, he is right there, is about between 2.2 to 2.5 meter above my property. And there is nothing with this fence, this wooden fence of 6 feet. It doesn't make any, this wooden fence is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. And with this balcony that he's putting on the second floor is literally, I should not be coming out of my backyard is obsolete, is done. I can't get out of there in the side. It's the developers. Tomorrow they are selling for somebody. I don't know who will be moving in. So it's my privacy is completely gone. This is my objection. If he wants to see, I can show it to him what it is. They did a survey right now under existing condition. His building, the center of his building is 2.2 to 2.5 meters above mine without any building. But he has a variance on the height. Any height is affecting me. A balcony is affecting me. And he's putting his ground floor is 1.2 meters to 1.5 meters above the thing is, I don't know, he has to do something else really. This is my objection, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Any question for this gentleman? No? Okay, we'll get back the agent. Okay, Mr. Hamid, could you please address those concerns?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Quresh has submitted a letter which numbers each point of concern directly, so I will speak to each point directly from the letter and from his comments today. So for variance number 1, Mr. Quresh has written that, quote, the required side yard setback at 1.8 meters should be respected. It is within the entire neighborhood and that should not be changed. If I could please see slide number 8. We have found 33 developments, again of similar size, within just the 500-meter radius of our proposal, all approved at the Committee of Adjustment for side setbacks of between 1.5 to 1.2 meters or lower for the entire length of the buildings and through all levels of the building, while keeping the side yard setback for the garage portion only is much less imposing on both the side neighbors and on the streetscape view as in the case that we have. Now, and if I could please see slide number 12, we're slightly surprised why Mr. Quresh has written that side yards are 1.8 meters for the entire neighborhood, and more so why he has objected to variances that his own home has been approved for. This slide is the notice of decision for the approval of Mr. Quresh's own new home at 190 Park Home Avenue, which went through the exact same process as today's Committee of Adjustment, and it was approved for a side yard setback of 1.46 meters for the entirety of the side of the home, as well as for variances for lot coverage, building length, landscaping, and although technical in nature, a variance for the increase of building height under the old bylaw, which Mr. Quresh has again opposed in our application. And if I could please see slide number 11, we can see Mr. Quresh's new home in better detail, specifically the side yard variance, which runs for the entire length of the home and through all levels. But regarding the grading and height and differences that Mr. Quresh alluded to, we are well aware of this situation. And for variances regarding the height, such as number 4, regarding the one-story extension, Mr. Quresh writes that, quote, the proposed building height could be a major issue to me. I have a concern with the proposed height. I will be losing all my backyard privacy with the proposed second floor height. Well, this variance doesn't have a relationship to the overall building height or to the height of the second floor. The one-story extension height variance is regarding the breakfast area on the first floor, and the height of the rest of the first floor would stay the same with or without this variance. And for variance number 6 regarding the sidewall height, Mr. Quresh writes that, quote, any increase in height, whether it's the building height, windows, walls, or an exterior platform, I have an objection with. Well, to be fair, a valid objection should be towards a variance which has an adverse effect on the neighbor. In this case, the sidewall heights for the side face the side. They have no view to Mr. Quresh's property at the rear. And regarding, Mr. Chair, we can certainly appreciate the neighbor's concerns for privacy due to the grade difference, but the variances we are requesting have not resulted in a raised vantage point or a more clear view to our neighbor to the rear. That is not their intent. Variances such as the rear deck, which Mr. Quresh just alluded to, which was heavily opposed by the neighbor in the letter and now, although it dealt with just a 2-foot increase in projection, not height or the level of the first floor of the deck, has since been removed out of respect for the neighbor, even though it was not opposed by the committee staff. And the balcony, which Mr. Quresh just alluded to, is there as of right. It has nothing to do with the one-story extension. It is situated on it not because of the variance itself. If there was no one-story extension for the home, that balcony would be there as of right. And in terms of water runoff and drainage that Mr. Quresh has several times pointed to in his letter, he has asked for assurances regarding drainage. And although the committee doesn't directly handle issues of this nature, I would like to assure Mr. Quresh that the Committee of Adjustment is just one of several stages of review and approval before the issuance of a building permit. And at the later stages, an Ontario Building Code examiner will request and review a completed grading plan carried out by a licensed Ontario surveyor who will design the drainage and grade of the property in a way that assures that all water will be drained through the subject property and not from any of the neighboring properties, including Mr. Koresh's. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any question for this speaker? No? If no question, can I have a motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I think that the explanations thoroughly provided by the applicant here today do address the concerns that I've heard and that I've had of myself today as well. So I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application. I'm going to make it subject to the changes that were already stated by the applicant here today. I don't know if you need me to repeat it, but I think it was clearly laid out. As well as the March 2nd staff report, in that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and east and west elevation drawings submitted to the committee. And that's my motion.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to those changes you made and subject to those conditions. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee members.
Thank you. Application number 26, which is 74 COVEWOOD Street. Application number 26. And we have here Mr. Yuki Huang. Is it Mr.? Yuki Huang, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, can you please state your name and your address?
My name is Yuki Huang. Address is 292 Palisa Crescent South, Richmond Hill, L4C1R8. I'm the agent of the owner for the property known as 74 COVEWOOD Street.
Okay, very good. So we have one more speaker. Is the other speaker online?
Mr. Chair and members, the area resident is not on the call.
Okay, so we have just the agent here. This is a new, new second edition, new story and existing dwelling, 6 variances and 2 letters of objection. One was registered, but there's nobody online except for the agent. So do we need a presentation? No? Okay. So, Miss Wang, we don't need the presentation, but did you want to say something, or we just move on to the decision?
No, I don't have anything to say.
Okay.
But you said you have 2 letters of objection.
Yes.
So what are they concerned, or do I need to know or address anything?
Well, they're online. If you don't have anything to say about them, do you really want to hash them? Can you put them on there?
Mr. Chair, I mean, the letters are available on the Application Information Center for the agent to download and review themselves.
Yeah.
If they haven't already done so,
Yeah.
then
Okay.
It's at their discretion.
Okay, very good. All right, so they were on the package. Any more question to this speaker, or can I have a motion, please? Ms. Atarodi?
Yes, to you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay, your application is approved and there is no conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Now, the next one is the agent is on. That's number 27, right?
Correct, Mr. Chair. We're on item number 27. And the agent for item number 27 is not present on the call at this time.
And that's the only one we have. We don't have any other speaker there. Right?
Correct. I'd also like to note they didn't officially register to speak at the hearing. We do request all agents email the committee to confirm that they are going to be present for the meeting.
So we'll hold it in the meantime?
We can hold it if you'd like in the meantime,
hold,
yes.
Yeah, we'll hold it and then we'll decide what to do with it after. Okay, number 28, which is, do we have the two other agents there? I mean, the agent and the... there is the agent and there is two speakers. Are they there?
The agent's present for the call, and I'm looking through the... I don't have any other of the area residents.
No, and the agent, you said what? He's what?
The agent is present.
Oh, he's present.
But it does not appear that any of the area residents are present.
The other two are not registered. Okay, they're not there. Okay, so we have just one agent. Okay, so now application number 28, which is 37 TILLPLAIN Road. Application number 28, we have just the agent, Mr. Jim Kotsopoulos. Are you there? Mr. Jim Kotsopoulos?
Mr. Chair and members, Jim is present. Jim is unmuted. Jim, go ahead. And if you haven't done so, you may need to log back out and log back in. And authorize. Oh, there you are.
Oh, here it is. Mr.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I hear you. Okay.
Thank you.
Can you please state your name and address?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Jim Kotsopoulos, 27 Fieldflower Crescent, Richmond Hill, L4E5E9.
Okay, thank you. So we have here a two-story addition, deck and walkout stairs. Just for just members to know, there's two variances. Staff report modify one, okay, 35%, and to modify, okay, 14 letters of support, 3 letters of rejection. Okay, now we since there are changes here, could you please tell us what changes are you making before we move on to the application?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As a result of discussions, and of course you have a staff report, Mr. Chair, we do have two variances before you. One is for lot coverage and one is for rear yard setback. And sir, as a result of the planning comments, we would like to reduce the lot coverage from 38.83% to 36.79, sir.
36.9?
36.79.
Oh, okay.
And then, sir, we would like to increase the rear yard setback from 7.11 to 7.80.
Okay. Just for curiosity, are these numbers, did you discuss them with the staff?
Sir, we did not have the opportunity because when we saw those, we had to diligently go back for redesign, and based on the family needs of the owner, sir, those are the ones that we came up with in terms of appropriate expansion to meet their needs.
Okay.
So we did not have a chance, sir, to answer your question.
Okay, because the staff report is requesting to modify variance number 1 to 35% and refuse number 2, which is the 8.06 meters. So please go. In that case, could you make a short presentation, and then if the members have any question, we'll go back to you.
Absolutely, sir. So this is for a 2-story addition to the rear of the existing semi-detached dwelling, sir. The addition is to service the expanded family of the owner. There is no 2nd-story window, sir, in terms of any overlook purposes. So that was very diligently reviewed by the owner. In terms of sun shadow impacts, there are no significant impacts, sir, because the main dwelling already in existence would be the primary cause of any sun shadow. And this minor addition, sir, will not add any significant changes to that sun shadow impact. We have over 14 letters of support from the area residents, and the owner was able to go around, sir, and present this plan to the neighborhood. The proposed rear yard setback, sir, as we have modified, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the plan, sir, because of the uneven, irregular rear lot line, the new change will now result in the westerly, will now result, sir, in the westerly rear yard setback in excess of the 8.06. So the west portion of the rear yard setback would be 8.12. So that would be in excess of the minimum. It is the from 8.06 to 7.80. And sir, in addition to those two, there are no other variances as a result. So there are no primary variances to building height, no side yard setbacks, no front yard setbacks, no building length or building depth. It is, sir, it is just primarily the lot coverage with a very slight rear yard reduction. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we'll come to the questions. Are you any question to this gentleman?
To you, Mr. Chair, I just want him to just clarify the variance number 2. I think, like, what is the number? What's the new number? 7.8 meter or 7.60?
Sorry, the new member West, the new number is 7.80.
Okay, thank you.
7.80.
And that is strictly for the easterly portion.
Yeah.
The westerly will comply.
Okay. And the coverage, you got it to 36.79?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, any other question? Can I have a motion then? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you. I do think that what's proposed, even with the changes, is still not in keeping with the staff recommendations. And so I will move to reject this application. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion to refuse the application. Do you have second? Ms. Atarodi, second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, I have 2 opposing and 2, yeah. Yeah, I see the changes they're made, the effort they make here, which is really not exactly what the staff recommended, but we don't have any opposition here, so I won't move to reject it. So do I have any other motion? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I accept the explanations provided here today by the applicant, and seeing that there is no opposition, as you've indicated, I don't see a problem with this application. I do believe that it, in my eyes, seems to be minor and appropriate for the development. So I'll propose that I'll put forward a motion to approve this application with the changes that are made here today by the applicant, and the changes he's already stated here for variances 1 and 2. And that's it. That's my motion.
Okay, and the changes, you want to cover the changes just for record
Okay,
purposes?
so variance number 1 has been changed to 36.79%, and variance number 2 has been changed to 7.80. Is it?
Yeah, 80. Thank you. Thank you. Just for
Thank
the
you.
records. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All in favor? Opposed? Again, the reason, we said here we have this application here has 14 letters of support, no objections around here. The change is not exactly what's shown, but is reasonable, and therefore I'll vote for the motion. And sir, your application is approved, subject to the changes you made. Okay?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Okay, now 27 is here, yeah? We go back to 27, which is 16 KNOLLVIEW Crescent. And here we have Miss Evangelista. She's the only one here, and there is no other speaker. Miss Evangelista, are you here?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Did you think that I took Glenn Rubinoff's recommendation to enjoy the sunshine?
Okay. All right.
But I was MIA. Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay, so again, for the records, I know who you are, but just for the records, you have to repeat your name and address, please.
It is Ida Evangelista, 53 Bentworth Avenue, Toronto, Ontario.
Thank you. So let me ask the members first. This is for new dwelling. There is staff report, just a recommendation, just a condition. There are 3 letters of support, 2 letters of opposition, and forestry. Do we need any presentation? Yes.
I appreciate a presentation. Yes, please.
Thank you. Ms. Evangelista, could you please make us a presentation? And you have 5 minutes, and I'll start it right now.
Okay. So what we are proposing is a 2-story home. It is on an irregular lot. The front of the lot, it's 7.32, and it opens up to 20.42. And not only is it a regular shaped lot, it is also on the curve of KNOLLVIEW Crescent. So in my submission, if you'll go to page 3, variance number 2, which speaks to the main wall height, we're asking for 7.78. However, that measurement is taken to the top of the window, which encroaches the roof line. However, to the underside of the eaves, we have 7.48, which complies to the minor variance, or to the bylaw, sorry. Our proposed front yard setback, and again, a lot of the variances, the front yard setback, the front porch, all relate to the curvature of the road and the irregular shaped lot. So we do have a front yard setback of 7.43, and that's on the area at its shortest point from the corner on the south side, southeast. However, if you notice the front yard setback in front of the garage, we do have 9.765. Again, our side yards, we are asking for 1.5 and 1.4, and that is because of the size of the irregular shaped lot. As I mentioned, it narrows at the front and widens at the very back of the lot. We have a rear deck. Our measurement goes to the top of the deck, and which you'll see in my submission. I went through all the variances. You'll see page 4. It outlines variances 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 that relate to the front yard setback, the front porch, and the deck variance. We do have our overall height variance 8, which is under the old bylaw 7625 of proposed height 9.93, which is taken to the center line of the road to the midpoint of the roof. However, from the center line of the road to the front of the house, it does slope up a meter. So if it was flat land, we wouldn't have that variance. we do have, we are in agreement with the staff report that we are to develop substantially in accordance to the front yard setback, south side yard setback. You do have the letters of support. We are in support of forestry's recommendation. You are in receipt of 2 letters. One is from Dr. Wang at number 10 KNOLLVIEW, and I did supply, because I did hand out packages to the area residents, and I did contact Dr. Wang, and I outlined, I provided the submission, I outlined all the variants, and as you see, he's not here today. And with the neighbors next door at number 14, my apologies, number 14, we've had, both myself and the owner have had communication with the owners of the home, and we've come up with a couple of different scenarios, be it opaque windows on the side, the opening of the windows would face the street, just to give it that much more privacy. And we've also, offered that we can plant some trees to provide additional privacy.
That's it.
And I respectfully submit this application meets the 4 tests.
Thank you. Any question? Then can I have a motion, please? I'm watching. Sometimes they come together. Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application on the condition that of course my PDF is frozen, on the condition noted in the staff report. If you just bear with me for 2 seconds, please.
To develop in accordance with the front yard setback and south side yard setback.
Yes, that is correct, Mr. Chair.
Also subject to forestry,
Forestry,
if
yeah.
that's possible.
Sorry, guys, I apologize for this. It's
You're
just
okay
all
with forestry
frozen up
as
on
well?
me here.
Okay.
I am, yes, yes.
Well, thank you for moving on and making the motion anyways. So okay, so you are approving with the staff condition and forestry. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay, Ms. Evangelista, your application is unanimously approved, subject to the staff condition and subject to forestry.
Thank you very much.
Okay, have a nice shiny day.
Thank you so much.
Rubinoff may have a royalty on that. Okay, so that's 27 is finished. Now it's 29, right? Okay, 29. Application number 29, which is 164 Brookdale Avenue. And we have just the agent, no other one. Mr. Drew Laszlo, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah, we have, oh boy, just 1-story addition and rear deck. 21 letters of support, and there is nobody else listed here. Members, do we need a presentation? No? Okay. Okay, Mr. Laszlo, we don't need a presentation. And do you want to say something before we move on to the condition, to the decision?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Can I have a motion? Miss Atarodi?
Yes, this is a very simple application, and through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Okay. Your application is approved, and there is no conditions.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, number 30, are they here? Are they?
Mr. Chair, excuse me, can we get another break now before?
Absolutely. 10 minutes? Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
we'll have we have a small recess, 10 minutes. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's my fault. You know why? Okay, so now we're going to number 30. Do you know if number 30 are there, okay? Everybody? We have the agent and 2 speakers, eh? I'm sorry?
Yeah, oh, yes, there's 3, the other page, Stacy. Next page. Yeah. Right, that
Oh,
one's
so there are 4 of them?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 people with the agent. Yeah. No wonder why she asked for a break. She was right. I have to tell Dan she's a ghost from what he's talking. ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And we're moving. Next one is number 30, which is 414 St. Clements Avenue, application number 30. And here we have agent and 3 more speakers. So we'll start with the agent, Marin Zabzouni. Are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Marin Zabzouni at 1140 the Queensway.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the address. Now we'll give you, since we have a few more speakers, so we need you to make a presentation, and usually it's 5 minutes. I'll give you the 5 minutes, and please go ahead.
So, Mr. Chair, we've seen the recent letters from committee. We previously actually worked with city planning and made revisions, which then they supported, but the letters from neighbors came thereafter. We spoke with the homeowners, and we feel, given the neighborhood, we feel it's best to request a deferral for this application. We sent in an email previously after reading the letters. The homeowners, this is a family home, so they want to get along with the neighbors, and they want to see if we can kind of come to an agreement.
So are you asking for deferral now?
Yes.
Okay, and the reason is to discuss with the neighbors, yeah?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes.
Deferral in order to discuss, to arrange with the neighbors. Okay. Let's hear from the other ones, and then we have here Mitch Wexler. Are you there?
Yes, hi.
Okay. Could you please state your name and address?
My name is Mitch Wexler. I live at 416 St. Clements Avenue.
Thank you. You heard the agent is asking for deferral in order to discuss the applicant with neighbors. Are you okay with the deferral?
Yes, that was my expectation today, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we have also Katrina. Thanks. Katrina Gustafrom. Katrina.
Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. Please state your name and address.
Katrina Gustafson, 429 St. Clements Avenue.
Thank you. And you heard the applicant is asking for deferral, and which means if the committee accepts the deferral, then we don't discuss it today. It will be at the time when they make the whatever revision they want. You're okay with that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Last one is Stacy Klein. Stacy Klein, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hi. You heard?
Hi there. Yes, I am.
Okay. Are you okay with the deferral? They're asking for the deferral?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a request for deferral. Can I have a motion? Unless you want some questions. Okay, Ms. Satarodi.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to defer this application so the applicant have enough time to discuss with the neighbors.
You want Sunny Day?
Correct.
Sunny Day. Thank you. Second, Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Okay. Okay, so your application is deferred, Sunny Day, and you discuss with the staff when it's coming for hearing, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have application 31. We have Mr. Klassen is recusing himself, right? Mr. Klassen, you recused yourself for item number 31.
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 31, which is 1001 Sheppard Avenue, 1001 Sheppard Avenue East. The application is number 31. We have here Ms. Kovar online, and we have here David Reed, area resident. Is he there? Yeah. David Reed is there. Okay. Ms. Kovar, can you please state your name and address for the records here?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My name is Kim Kovar. I'm here on behalf of the applicant Concord 8X Investments, Inc., and I'm with Airden Burles LLP.
Thank you. Since we have another resident here to speak, so maybe you can make a brief presentation, usually 5 minutes, and tell us the merits of the application.
Certainly. Thank you, sir. Just before I begin, I just want to make sure that you have noted the two revisions to the variances which the planning department has requested that we make. And I know you have asked other applicants to read that into the record. So
Yes,
would you like
yes.
me to start by doing that?
Yes, you're referring to the bicycle pad and the grade from 4%.
That's correct.
But you have to state
That's
it,
right.
But you have to state it, please.
Okay, so the first change is to variance number 13. Previously, we had asked for a proposed stacked bicycle parking space to have a minimum width of 0.4 meters. That revised variance will read, the proposed stacked bicycle parking spaces will have a minimum width of 0.5 meters. So 0.4 is changed to 0.5.
Got it.
And then the second change is in variance number 14, just below that. And the revised variance will say, the proposed requirement for short-term bicycle parking spaces is more than 10, and a minimum of 15%, that's 15% of the short-term bicycle parking spaces are located at grade, and the remaining short-term bicycle parking spaces will be located at the level below grade shown on drawing SP-12 lower ground floor plan.
Very good. Okay. And please go ahead, make the rest of the presentation and see if we have any questions.
Thank you. So this is, this application concerns what is known as Block C in the Concord Park Place development, which are lands on the south side or lands south of Sheppard Avenue between Bessarion and Leslie. This particular block, which is parcel C, is served by the Bessarion subway station, and it is proposed to be developed with a mixed-use building. It has street-related retail at grade and 3 towers with heights of 19, 27, and 31 stories above. It's a relatively lengthy list of variances, as we sometimes see in these larger projects. A total of 18 have been identified, and they have resulted from the ongoing and quite lengthy site plan review process that we've been going through with city planning staff beginning in May of 2019. As noted in the favorable planning staff report that you have, the vast majority of these variances are what staff are referring to as technical variances, and I thought I would just use my time to focus on what I would say would be the 3 substantive variances, which is the increase proposed to the density, the number of units, and the tower heights. The thing that's important to understand with respect to the increase in density and unit counts is the site-specific bylaw for the Concord Place development generally caps both density and unit numbers on a bylaw-wide basis and on an individual block basis. And so while we are exceeding the permission on the individual block, parcel C, we are comfortably below the maximum permitted in the entire area covered by the zoning bylaw. What we are actually doing is reallocating density from parcel B, which is immediately to the west, right across the street to the west of parcel C. We are reallocating a portion of the permitted density and residential units from that block to the subject block. And that is being done because parcel B enjoys dual zoning. On one hand, it does permit 252 dwelling units, but it is also subject to a school reserve. And if the school board exercises the option to take title to the school reserve block, the way the bylaw operates is those 252 units are automatically removed, and the permission instead on the site becomes 6,000 square meters and may be used only for a school and day nursery. So that is actually what's happened. The option has been exercised. That site will now be redesigned with a school, and the 252 units and the associated GFA are being unused. So we're not increasing the overall permissions, we're simply transferring a portion of it over. And then with respect to building height, because the way in which these reallocated units are being deployed, they are being deployed with additional stories being added on the towers. The question there becomes, is there any unacceptable adverse impact resulting from the location of the additional height on the towers? And so through the site plan approval process, there has been an assessment of both massing and potential shadow impacts on sensitive uses. The closest low-density residential neighborhood would be north of Sheppard Avenue or west of the Concord Park Place development on Bessarion. And there are no incremental adverse impacts on any of those properties or on any of the immediately abutting lands. So the density and the number of units remains well below what is permitted by the bylaw. It conforms to the density caps in the OP, and the height is not only being deployed in a manner which is not causing any adverse impact, but it specifically conforms to the purpose and intent of the bylaw for the Concord Park Place community, which contemplated the lowest building heights on Sheppard Avenue and heights increasing as we move to the south, with the highest heights, which are 36 stories, right along Highway 401. So with the proposed heights being contemplated here, we are continuing to fall precisely within that range of a transitioning height. I think my covering letter, which really divided this list of variances up into 6 areas, really went through and provided a fairly detailed description of the rationale and the mechanics of all of the other variances on the list, as does the lengthy memo from the planning department. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about those. I will reserve comment on Mr. Reed's submissions once we've heard from him. The only other thing I want to touch on is, and I should say the planning department is also recommending a section 45.9 contribution for community benefits. That condition of approval being suggested by staff is acceptable to my client, as is the condition of approval being requested by the transportation department memo, which is asking that the small car parking spaces be posted with signage indicating that they are small car parking spaces. And that's also a condition that is fine with my client.
Very good.
The only other thing I wanted to comment on is that there was a comment in the memorandum from Mr. Abraham in transportation with respect to the variance seeking permission to charge for visitor parking in the residential visitor parking area. And he indicates that that ought not to be approved, and it's not permitted by bylaw 569/2013. He's actually mistaken. It is specifically permitted by bylaw 569/2013. It is also permitted by the site-specific bylaw, but the reason for the variance is that residential visitor parking cannot be charged for under the old former City of North York zoning bylaw 7625. And it's a provision that dates back to 1952. It has been routinely amended through rezoning applications and minor variances, including in this area, as is outlined in the memo we provided from BA. And given that this site sits, well, basically on the Sheppard subway, one short block away from the entrance to the Bessarion station, it enjoys excellent transit accessibility, and there is no hardship resulting from charging on visitor parking for people visiting the condominium project in this case, as is routinely done across the city and actually in North York. The revenues from charging for the parking will go back to the condominium board and the retail stores as well, to be used by them for maintenance and repairs of the parking garage over time. This is not a request my client is making in order to generate the revenue for themselves. This is going back to the residents who will live in the condominium building.
Okay.
So I think those are my submissions, and thank you very much, sir.
Very good. Ms. Kovar, I have to say that you are very thorough. You answered 2 questions I had. One is regarding the parking payment charging, and one about the agreement with the city for the payment, and you covered both of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, we'll bring you back after we hear from Mr. David Reed. And if there's any questions, we'll tackle them then, okay? Mr. David Reed, are you there?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair.
Could you please state your name and address?
David Reed, 662 Shepherd Avenue East.
Thank you. So please tell us what's your concern about this application.
Thank you very much. Before I start, I'd just like to thank Ms. Kovar for her explanation. I wanted to focus, part of my comments were on the payment which is referred to as section 49.9. So I'd like the committee to keep that in mind as you patiently listen to my comments. I'm going to use the minutes that were allocated, and I hope that this will be adding to what I've already said, or at least differentiate between it and the letter. So first of all, I'd just like to say that from our perspective, from my perspective, it's a public interest and public concern for this application. It did not appear that the Committee of Adjustment was the right place for the application, as it did not meet all 4 tests that the committee must apply. For example, is it doubtful that the public would consider adding 125 new residential units and 9 stories to a building that has already gone through an extensive public consultation and planning review process would be a minor change. To add the units out of sight of a higher profile public consultation does not serve the public interest for the following reason. The application listed is under 1001 Shepherd. It is not on Shepherd. The only reason I found out about it was because our TDSB school trustee thought the application was for another building on Shepherd that a residential group I belong to was interested in. Our trustee had received notice from the Toronto Lands Corporation that local schools would not be available for the occupants of the building requesting the variance. As I said, this is not a minor request. It is also it's for an already approved high-rise building and for 18 variances that include a 14.5% increase in the number of units, an increase in the number of tower stories by up to 26.7%, and up to 22.5% increase in the tower heights. I'm concerned about the appearance of this application. The development went through an extensive public consultation. Community planning's recommended level of development was reviewed and approved by the city. Now, after the 2-year required waiting period, the developer is asking for changes to the previously approved zoning bylaw and further density and height additions out of sight of real public engagement. As the agent says in their cover letter, it became apparent to them that there was an opportunity to increase tower heights. Why wasn't this thought of in the original design that had the benefit of expert architects, planners, and legal counsel? We have rules for development that took years to develop and that cost a great deal of time and money for the community and for the city to get approval. The numbers in the rules were not written as plus or minus or approximately. Now we have an application that wants a retroactive change to those numbers without property community engagement and not by a small amount. This application went through a site plan application process, and it appears that it could not get the changes it wanted that way, so it is applied for the Committee of Adjustment for approval. After the application for variances was submitted 3 months ago, the city's comments on the variances were not posted until partway through the very last day allowed for written public comments. The public didn't have time to review the city's position of having to submit their own comments. The city says the application conforms to the Shepherd East subway corridor secondary plan. Our community was told in 2018 that policies within the plan were out of date and needed to be reviewed. What is the density requested in this variance? The existing secondary plan says it's supposed to be a maximum of 2.2. The agent says that the variances are simply a reallocation within an existing approval. Are these heights, numbers of additional units, and additional stories being taken away from another approved building? And will that building reduce its own height and density, or is this what is referred to as bonusing? The city has asked for $4,800 to hear the appeal at the committee and is only asking for $8,800 for each of the 125 additional units. You do not have to be a construction expert to know that any developer would leap at the chance to add units to their prior approval at this price. When the city budgets are running a deficit now, how are these amounts a realistic community benefit or a meaningful addition to the public purse? I'm concerned that this is the second time in 6 months that there's been a request for variances to increase the height and density for an already approved building on this property. The previous application asked for 47 more units and 6 more stories. In that case, the city only asked for $200,000 or about $4,250 a unit. The only good news is the city has increased the sale price to $8,800 a unit from the previous $4,250. It's still not good news that the approval process seems to allow for supplemental development at bargain prices. So in conclusion, I'd just like to say I'd ask the committee to defer or deny the various request numbers 5 through 8 for the additional units and increased heights and densities, or to assign a higher value to the added units as a public benefit and a contribution to the city's budgetary deficit. Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members.
Thank you. Just a second, see if you have any questions. Any questions for this gentleman? No? So we'll get Ms. Kovar. Could you please, could you come back and address those concerns, please?
Certainly, thank you. Certainly, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You can hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
It still says David Reed's name up there, but can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Just go ahead, please.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much. So I guess the first thing, Mr. Reed raised an issue about notice and indicated he didn't get a notice. I did check when I got his letter to find out where his residence is actually located. And it's approximately 750 meters away from the site, about 3/4 of a kilometer. So he's well outside the notice area, which would explain why he did not get a notice mailed to his residence. As far as I'm aware, the city has followed the notice procedures, and certainly the notices were posted on the property in 2 separate locations as requested by the city staff. With respect to his concerns regarding the scope of the variances or the scale of the variances, his submissions today echoed, I think, what he attempted to do in his letter, which is prepare a mathematical explanation of the degree of the variance or the percentage increase associated with each of the variances. And of course, that is not the test that we are directed to undertake under the Planning Act. When one is assessing whether a particular, the LPAT on a settlement with the city back in 2013, it is not simply 2 years later. A great deal of time has passed, and responding specifically to Mr. Reed's question of, why now? Why just wait 2 years and come back for more?
Ms.
Kovar, for the change.
Ms. Kovar,
Yes?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Could you please check your equipment, because it's making a very background noises here. Yeah, so see what equipment you're using and speak directly to the microphone.
Oh, sorry. I hope, is that clearer now? I am just using the same equipment. There's no background noise where I'm sitting. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Kim, we can hear you. I think it's just digital kind of obstructions more than anything, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. I was.
It's okay. Please go ahead.
I was just going to indicate that as I had indicated in my opening comments, the reason that we're back, the thing that has changed here is that the school reserve has been exercised, the option has been exercised, and it has created an opportunity which did not exist in 2013 when the zoning bylaw was first passed to redeploy the density. And so that's the nature of the application. And with respect to the quantum of the section 45.9 application, this was a number that was arrived at by city staff in consultation with finance staff, who I understand undertook a valuation of the increased density and requested that a certain percentage of that be provided. This was the city's number, and my client has consented to it. And accordingly, I would suggest that the committee should rely upon the city staff's recommendation in terms of the quantum of the public benefit contribution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kovar. Any questions for this applicant? If there is no questions, anyone would like to entertain a motion? Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate the thorough explanation of both the applicant and the gentleman who spoke against it. Just touching on a few of the main highlights from it, it is my opinion that despite the fact that we're adding, what may seem like quite a few stories to it, in the grand scheme of the relative scale of the site, I do believe that the additions proposed here are minor in nature and do meet the general intent of the bylaw, will not have an adverse impact on the local community. And I'm in agreement with the assessment of city staff, who I know on files like this has been working for years in order to get it to a place where it can be approved and pushed forward. And there's a lot of information here for a 5-minute back and forth debate between the two parties. So relying on the process and the recommendations to staff, as well as my own analysis here, I believe that what's being proposed here is generally a minor in nature, and I'll I'll put forward a motion to approve it pending with the amendment to numbers 13 and 14 as proposed by the agent here today, or item number 13, that the bicycle parking spots are increased in width, or change in width to 0.5 meters. And number 14, which I will seek some clarity on, but I believe the amendment was that 15% of the parking bicycle parking will be at grade, with the balance below grade. I'll ask for confirmation on that, just so that I get it correct for the record.
Okay.
And then
Do you want confirmation before you finish? There's a
I should get confirmation of the exact language if the applicant can just read it into the record, and then I'll confirm it.
Ms. Kovar, could you please read that change that you made?
Certainly. So this is variance number 14. The proposed requirement for short-term bicycle parking spaces is more than 10, and a minimum of 15% of the short-term bicycle parking spaces are located at grade, and the remaining short-term bicycle parking spaces will be located at the level below grade shown on drawing SP-12, lower ground floor plan.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to rephrase for you, Mr. Chair, and for clarity, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application pending those two changes to items number 13 and 14, and I believe the requirement of the transportation report noting the signage required for small car parking spaces, and that's all.
That's it. About B, enter the agreement with the city regarding the payment.
That is correct as well. I believe that's part. Is that not one of the?
Yeah, she confirmed it. Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Okay, so do I have a? Can I have a second, please? Ms. Sankar, second. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Ms. Kovar, your application is unanimously approved based on those changes you made and the staff condition for the agreement with the chargers. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, application number 33, which is 263 Dawlish Avenue. Application number 33. We have just one speaker here, who's the agent. Sam Wu, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Good afternoon, committee and chairman.
Yeah, just a second. Can you please just tell us your name and your address?
Okay, my name is Sam Wu from A&D Architecture, Inc. My address is 3950 14th Avenue, Markham,
okay.
Suite 609.
Thank you. Just wait there. We have this detached garage and rear. 2 variances, transportation, no objection, conditions only to revise the plan, and 2 letters of objection. There is nobody else registered here. Do we need a presentation? No, thank you. Okay, so Mr. Wu,
yes,
we do not need a presentation. Did you want to say something else before we move to a decision?
Yes, we'd like to ask to defer on this application because, you know, we saw 2 object letters, and the thing is, the letter is from Miss Walsh that she's supposed to speak with the owner face-to-face, but the owner has a problem to come to Canada because of the COVID-19. He was quarantined in Hong Kong right now. So the owner want to just defer the application and wait after he speak to the neighbors. He don't want any bad blood between neighbors, so that's what we want.
Okay, so you're asking for deferral in order to talk
Yep.
to the neighbors, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any question to the speaker? He's the only one here. If not, can we can I have a motion for deferral? Ms. Satarodi?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to defer this application so that applicant have time to talk further with the neighbors to resolve the issues. A sine die.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Opposed? No. Opposed? Ms. Sankar, opposing, yeah? Okay, so your application is approved. I'm sorry, deferred. The approval is for deferral for you to discuss with the neighbors. Okay, so check with the staff when it's coming up for hearing.
Thank you.
That's 33, right? Yeah. Application number 34, which is 134 Roslin Avenue. Application number 34. We have just one speaker, Mr. Tom Sprague. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Can you please, we know who you are, but your name and your address for the record?
It's Tom Sprague. The firm is Sprague and Company Architects, and our mailing address is 156 Duncan Mill Road here in Toronto.
Thank you.
Suite 17A.
Yeah, I got that. And this is to legalize and to maintain a built as built deck, 3 variances, and 2 letters of support. Do we need the presentation? No? Okay. So Mr. Sprague, we do not need the presentation, and we'll move to a decision unless you have something else to say.
Well, very briefly, I would add that, as you know, both the neighbors on each side are supportive, and in fact, now both neighbors have decks that are exactly the same as what we're asking for today. So.
Okay. All right. That's it.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So, can I have a motion, please?
So,
Mr. Klassen.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is minor, and I would like to move to approve this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Second. Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay. Your application is approved unanimously. There's no conditions.
great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Application number 35, which is 2609 Bayview Avenue. And we have here the Chris Stoyanovich. Are you there?
Yes, I am. It's Chris Stoyanovich, CT.
Okay, can you please state your name and address?
Sure. Chris Stoyanovich, CTS Planning and Land Development Services, 110 Bedford Park Avenue, Toronto.
Thank you. Is Bruce Friedman there? Is it? Okay, we have one more speaker here, therefore we need a short presentation from you, and you'll have 5 minutes to tell us the merit of your application.
Yes, sir. I represent the Bayview Congregation of United Church of Canada and Cedarhurst Dementia Home Care. The proposed variance would provide for a front yard structure that would house a generator to supply emergency power to the Cedarhurst Dementia Care Home. They have 26 units. And as required by the Ontario Long-Term Care Home Act, long-term care homes are to have emergency power in the event that there's a power with, Toronto Hydro. Obviously, in this case, with 26, serving 26 patients with dementia, it's obviously important to have continuous power, not only for the building's mechanical electric system, but in order to provide food, lights, etc. So it's a legislative requirement. My clients are obviously anxious to get this installation in place. We looked at alternative locations, but given the generous setback from the front of the property when the building was built under approval, I think it was North York at the time, or City of Toronto, there was already landscaping in place, and my clients, under, I guess, suggestion from City of Toronto planning staff, agreed to provide ample landscaping around the structure. In terms of the structure itself, it would have a 6-foot-high wooden enclosure, and then around it landscaping so that it's buffered from the street in terms of views. It's also a location that's as far as possible away from residential development as well, or existing residential homes. And in my professional opinion as a planner, I think it meets the four tests, and I've indicated so in my application letters to the city. So effectively, sir, that is my presentation.
That's it. Did you cover the questions from the staff report as far as the height and the landscaping and all that stuff?
Yes, sir. We've read the report. It reflects the drawings that we have submitted to city at their suggestion, and we agree with the report. My clients and I agree with the report and are prepared to implement that, subject to approval.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll hear from Mr. Friedman, I guess. Mr. Bruce Friedman, are you there? Mr. Bruce Friedman. You said he was there, huh?
Mr. Chair, members, it's my impression and interpretation that Bruce is called in. He is unmuted, so he should be able to speak.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Mr. Friedman, are you there?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I have a phone number that would correspond to his.
What's that?
I have a phone number in the list of attendees that corresponds to the one he's submitted, and he is unmuted. So.
Try him one more time.
Mr. Friedman, are you present? You are unmuted and you're able to speak.
One more time, Mr. Friedman, are you there?
Mr. Chairman, can we hold the item down and come back to it?
Yeah.
So Mr. Friedman can try contacting again. So let's hold the item down and go to the next one.
Yeah. We can hold that one. Mr. Stoyanovich, I'm sorry. We have one more speaker here. He's registered to speak, and we just can't ignore it. So.
Is there? I understand, sir. I understand that. I'd ask staff if there's, because I've checked every day. I haven't seen any other correspondence on file. So if there's any correspondence that staff could send me, they have my email address.
This is not a question of the correspondence. We have somebody who's registered to speak, and we're
just speak. Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to ask your indulgence to wait for a few minutes. We don't like to do that.
Okay.
Since you already spoke. Since you already spoke, we don't like to do that. So we'll be calling you right after. Okay.
Okay, I'll stay on video. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. That's a good idea. Okay, number 36.
Mr. Friedman, if you can hear us, please consider hanging up and calling back in.
Okay, number 36, which is 19 PAULTIEL Drive, application number 36.
Yes.
Jonathan Benskowski, are you there?
I am here, sir.
Could you please state your name and address?
Jonathan Minskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue.
Okay, you're the only one registered here. Let me see. We have, okay, transportation, no objection, letter of, yeah. My file, most of the information is dated 2018, and the transportation only 2021, and letter of concern 21. So could you make a very short presentation, please? What's happening here?
Absolutely. This is a deferred file from 2018. The concern in 2018 largely centered around some trees that were believed to have been removed, or sorry, I take that back, that were being proposed to be removed. The revised application before you today does not propose those trees to be removed. And as you can see from the memo from Forestry, there is no objection anymore to the proposal that was there from 2018. Lastly, just maybe to review one of the variances very quickly, which has to deal with the driveway width. Often when we see a driveway width like this, and also in conjunction with a increased request in stairs like this, we see a request for a reduction in landscaping in the front yard. That is not the case here. This proposal still meets all the landscaping requirements, even with the circular driveway and the wider stairs. So the intent of maintaining the front yard with the landscaping provision is met with what is before you today.
Very good. Okay, thank you. We'll see if the members have any question. Any question for this gentleman? No? Then can I have a motion, please? There is no other speaker. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I accept the explanation provided by the applicant here today, and so I'll make I'll motion to approve this application and make it subject to the comments that were noted in the March 2nd staff report and the recommendations that they've stated there that the applicant doesn't have any problems with. I'll also make it subject to the March 4th comments and conclusions of that transportation report. They have no objections, but there's still some conditions. As well as, even though Forestry, he has indicated, has no concerns, I'm still going to make it subject to Forestry to ensure that that is indeed clear.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Satarodi, all in favor? Okay. Your application is approved subject to those conditions, okay?
Thank you, panel.
Okay. We'll go to number 37. We'll hold that one until the end.
Perfect. And Mr. Chair, the area resident, Vinny Venus, is not present on the call.
Oh, so all we have is
just the agent.
The agent. Okay. Application number 37, which is 38 Bevdale Road, application 37. Mr. Manifar, Barak Manifar, are you there?
Hi, my name is Edward Rudkowski of 25 Lacey Avenue here in Toronto. I'm here as agent for Mr. Manifar.
Okay.
And if I might to take just a real quick second to say Nakumik and Migwich for the land acknowledgement which preceded this presentation. These type of things are long overdue, and it's heartening and heartwarming to see that this presentation started with that. And I want to thank the chairperson and all committee members for taking this minor step forward in the process of reconciliation. Thank you.
Okay, so you're acting for the agent, and we'll see if there is any. We don't have anybody else registered here, so staff, are you making any changes?
Yes, so we originally came before the committee, which we deferred several months ago, and there were several changes that were made which addressed some of the concerns which were raised. I believe that all of the things that are remaining are minor in nature, and I would invite in questions at this point, and hopefully we can get through things and go on to the beautiful day that people have been talking about all throughout the presentation.
Okay, so the variances listed are the ones you're asking for, and there is no revision to those. Is that correct?
Well, again, there are several of the variances here which we don't think which were erroneous, but I draw attention to number 8, for example. The proposed build, we made a change to the slope of the roof such that the maximum allowable height of the building would be 10 meters, and we now fall below that threshold. So again, the things that remain, I believe, are minor in variance, are minor in nature. The client and the builder follows wholly a respect thy neighbor policy, and I believe that all remaining items are minor in their nature.
Yeah, so that's what I asked you. The remaining ones that are listed are the ones you're asking, and you're not making any changes to those. Is that correct?
No, that's correct. No, that's correct.
Okay, no, he's not making changes. That's correct. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
yes?
Can we please get the agent's name again?
Yeah, I apologize. I'll say and I'll spell my name for you. My name is Edward Rudkowski. My surname is spelled Rudkowski, and I am agent for Babak Manifar, Manifar, and Mr. Manifar has been identified on all the correspondence between the city and himself.
And your own address is what? Your own address?
25 Lacey Avenue in Toronto.
Thank you. Okay, any questions or motion to this gentleman? Ms. Sankar?
I'm ready for a motion, Mr. Chair.
Please,
There's
go
no
ahead.
other questions.
Please.
Miigwech, Mr. Rudkowski, I note your comments about Indigenous inclusion and diversity, and I welcome it. With that, I'd like to say that I do believe that this actual application meets the 4 tests in my eyes. There is no complaints and nothing else that comes up as something that stands out for me. I'll motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you. And second, Mr. Klassen, all in favor? Opposed? Ms. Atarod is opposing. And sir, the application is approved. And that's it.
Again, I want to say Nakumik and Miigwech to everybody for your consideration. Please keep up the good work, and please continue to keep the rights and privileges of Aboriginal peoples in your mind when you're planning future discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, now we go back to number 35. 35. Mr. Bruce Friedman, are you there? Show up.
That's the way it's done.
There he goes. Bruce, go ahead.
No, he's not.
No, that was Jonathan.
One more time, Mr. Bruce Friedman, are you there? So I'm sorry, we'll bring back the agent, Mr. Chris Stoyanovich. Mr. Chris Stoyanovich?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, sir, I am here.
Okay, sorry we kept you there. This gentleman is not showing up. So, so we're going to move ahead with your application, number 35. And okay, you covered already. Any question? Any more question for this applicant? Mr. Klassen, please go ahead.
Yes, just a quick question. So just so I'm clear, the generator will only only be running when there isn't any electrical power that, yes.
Yeah, the answer to that question is yes. It's an emergency generator that will supply in the event of a disruption. And we've had a few of them, more than a few of them, I guess, in Toronto, due to inclement weather or other reasons. It'll supply emergency power to the dementia care home only under those circumstances.
Yes.
Does that answer
Thank
the
you.
question? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, can I have a motion then if there is no more questions? Mr. Klassen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll move to approve this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Second,
Oh, geez, that was him maybe right there.
Ms. Sankar.
Might have been him.
Ms. Sankar, all in
Sorry,
favor?
what about, sorry, I just want to remind the condition. There are 3 conditions?
And we agree with those conditions and accept them.
Thank you. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So the conditions are, Mr. Klassen, there is conditions there. You're okay with them, huh?
I am, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So it was seconded by Ms. Sankar, right? And all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is unanimously approved based on the condition, the staff conditions 1, 2, 3. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee members and city staff. I appreciate this.
Thank you.
And my clients do as well.
Okay, so that's the end of it. And can I have a motion to terminate the meeting? Ms. Sankar, termination.
I think that with Ms. Attarodi, but I want to tell you guys, thank you so much. This is my last hearing with this panel, but I'm sure I'll be joining you again in the future somehow.
We'll see
and
you. We'll
at
see
trainings.
We'll see you in the future. Okay.
Thank you so much, guys.
Well, thanks for that comment. And so, first of all, we have to finish the closing. So, Ms. Attarodi,
I motion to
second,
terminate.
Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay, so unanimously, the meeting is terminated, and it's about 3:50. I'm sorry, you wanted 3:30. Well, you can charge me with 20.